Hi friends, welcome back to Adobe Live. Thank you all so much for joining us. My name is Cody and I will be your host for the next hour. Here on Power Prompts, it is our goal to empower you to power through your art block. Every month we create a theme and every week we have a drawing prompt based around that theme. If you've been around my streams for the past few weeks, we have been doing Dogust so far on this month, and today's prompt is yummy treats. If you'd like to participate, feel free to post your work to Instagram with hashtag Adobe Live Power Prompts. And towards the end of the show, we will be going over some of your community entries that have already previously been posted. Welcome, everyone. Val says, Cody, you look so nice. Thank you so much. Aw. Hey, Jack, welcome. Robert, hi, Bliss, Becca, good to see you all. Thank you all so much for joining us. And let's head on into Fresco so we can see what we're working on today. So if you guys have not been watching our streams for the past few weeks, I wanted to show you, just like give a little bit of a recap of our projects that we've had so far. So the first week we did this Frisbee dog, we did a golden retriever, and then the week after that, we did a dachshund on a walk, and then the week after that, we did a Dalmatian and a Chihuahua sleeping in a little bed together. And this week, we are actually starting from scratch. So the past few weeks during Dogust, I've mainly been focusing on doing color and showing you guys the color process. But since this, I think, composition is going to be a little bit more simplistic, I wanted to do the sketch with you guys today. So we are going to be drawing some tasty dog bones. Hi, everyone. Hey, RB, Steve. Good to see you guys. Hey, Dennis. Welcome. All right. So the only thing that I have chosen so far is the color palette. So here is our, if I can, there we go. Oh, it's not working. Wait. There we go. There we go. Okay, here's our color palette. So we're going with some golds and greens today. So I wanted to try to make all of the backgrounds for each project a little bit different. So we haven't done a green background yet. So we're going to be drawing some greenies, if you guys have ever heard of those. They are a specific dog treat that our dog just loved. Okay, so I am going to, let's see. I'm actually going to pull up this one for a second, just so I can, on a separate layer, I'm going to grab my pencil tool. This is actually the default pencil brush in Fresco. One of my favorites, absolutely love it. And then I usually take this cream color and I bring it down and kind of saturate it a little bit. This is usually kind of like my kind of like graphite color for sketching. And I am just going to go around and kind of very loosely sketch this outline here, just so we can get that same shape roughly for the background rectangle that we have. How was your guys' weekends, by the way? What'd you guys do? Anything exciting? Me and CJ did not do too many exciting things. Okay, so, okay, that's good enough. I don't want it to necessarily be exactly the same because, for one, I do personally like kind of like the hand-drawn look, and I want them to kind of look all different, but the shape is going to change a little bit as we color it anyway. Val says, does no one else eat dog treats? Asking for a friend, a concerned friend. I've actually, when I was in elementary school, I have tasted dog treats. I personally did not like them very much, but my brother dared me to eat some like milk bones. Okay, moving on. Okay, so I can go ahead and hide this. Let's go ahead and make a new layer. And what I think I'm going to do is, since as we've talked about in our previous illustrations that we've done here, we've kept all of our backgrounds monochromatic. So since we're kind of doing a series, I wanted to give the same treatment to all of the different dog illustrations that we've done. So I've kept the background one singular color, but used value variations in that color to create the shapes in the background. So that's what we're going to do for today as well. I think I'm going to use this more warm tone green for the background. And maybe I'll find a use for that more cooler tone green. Maybe I'll change my mind as we work. That happens a lot. So I'm not entirely sure where we're going to go with the colors, but we will see. But first, again, I'm going to go back into this layer group here. And I grab my sketching color back again. And I think I'm going to make some just like piles in the background here. And then like another like foreground pile. So we're just like in a big room full of piles of dog bones, basically. That's what it's gonna look like. All right. So I'm thinking so obviously the piles that are in the background further, the dog bones are going to be smaller. So I'm going to start off with just kind of just like a rough hill shape here. I kind of want it to be relatively even. And then we have our pile up here in the front as well. And then we're going to have our little dog friends, like maybe like having their paws sticking over the edge, or like having their like head like pop up through the through the pile up here up front. And then like maybe we'll have like some like extra like dog bones like falling around and stuff. Dennis says a rough hill shape. No pun intended. Okay. So I'm going to keep that there. I'm going to lower the opacity of that just so like I'm going to treat that basically as like my thumbnail, and I'm going to go over it with details. Very, very, very rough thumbnail. Okay, so new layer. And I am just going to start like drawing like little dog bone shapes, like kind of like coming out of this hill. Whoop, that dog bones don't have 3 ends. Let's try that again. Like at different angles. So this will kind of like end up being like the edge of the hill here. Just basically the silhouette is what we're looking for. I'm not going to be sitting here like drawing every single dog bone in this hill, but what I'm concerned about, what I'm focused on mainly is the silhouette of it in the background. Hey Wade, welcome. How are you doing? Val says, Cody, this is going to be adorable. I hope so. I hope so. I was just telling CJ a little bit ago that I'm actually been really enjoying our Doggo projects, Dogust projects. And I've really been enjoying doing like a series like this, which I don't do this kind of thing like very often. I don't know if I've ever done a series like this ever. So it's kind of been a really fun change of pace. Doing something like this. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it as well. So yeah, just kind of like doing them all in different directions so it kind of looks natural, like they've all just been thrown into a pile here. Val says Wado Potato is Wade's final form. Yes, I think CJ's been calling Wade Wado Potato lately. Hey Shauna, hi, welcome. Becca says, yeah, the dog series has turned out wonderful. Thank you so much. I'm glad you like it. Okay, so I'm actually thinking that now that I'm zooming out on your illustration, by the way, is a very important tip. That sometimes it's very easy, like if you're really far zoomed in as a digital illustrator, you can get so caught up in the details that you forget to see far away what your art really looks like. And now that I've zoomed out, I'm kind of actually thinking that I've made these bones a little bit too small for the scale that we've been generally going for our other dog illustrations. So what I'm going to do is I was going to erase it, but what I can do instead to save time, I can just grab this and make it a little bigger. Whoops, did not grab the whole thing. Let's try that again. There we go. I'm going to grab this and move it over here and make it a little bigger. And also when you're going for like an illustration, like more simplistic style, sometimes I find that like even things that are generally really small in real life, it can sometimes add character to your artwork if you make them a little bit larger than life. Like sometimes, for instance, like if I'm drawing my character in a button-up shirt, I'll make those buttons like way bigger than they normally would in real life, and it kind of like adds to that like simplistic character. So what I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to make these bones a little bit bigger than they probably should be. Actually, a lot bigger than they probably should be. I'm going to grab these ones here. I'm going to do this. Whoops. Deselect. I'm going to make these things a little bit bigger. Like this. And also by making them bigger, we have to draw less dog bones now. So we don't have to draw as many, which is always nice when you're trying to save time. Okay. Let's continue on then. So now I can make them just a little bit bigger than I was prior. And again, like usually for me, I do a lot of my details in the coloring process. So some of these are probably going to end up changing anyway. And I'm just going to like throw in some shapes, but this just helps me remember like about the idea of the direction that I was going here. So one more, something like that. Okay, so then we can go ahead and also maybe we'll make some like extra other dog bones like on the ground here. And I also want to add in the little dots. There's like 3 dots in the middle here, because that like indicates that it's a milk bone and not like an actual bone. Like we're not like standing in an elephant graveyard, for instance. The 3 little dots here, they will do that for baked goods, is like dog bones, for instance, so they don't puff up in the oven and they'll stay flat on top. And it kind of just like adds air and it allows air to escape. So for baked dog bones, we're putting in those little dots. There are little holes. Hey, Alessandra, welcome. Okay, now we'll do the same thing. We can go ahead and I will actually probably just copy and paste. Let's go ahead and just copy and paste this hill, and maybe we'll just flip it around. Let's go duplicate selection, and then we'll flip it around, and we'll maybe make it a little bit bigger. And we can use that sketch for the foreground bones as well. Love to copy and paste things when I can. Especially, I actually copy and paste all the time. You might think of it as like cheating or something, but like really, I mean, you're a digital artist and you have these tools to, you should use them to your advantage. Really all it's doing is just saving you time. I mean, you already drew the thing, so you might as well copy the thing, right? So it just helps a lot in saving time. Okay, let's duplicate that part, duplicate selection. Oops, wrong layer. Duplicate. And we'll just throw these guys down here. Okay. Wade says, "Oh dang, I thought it was a pile of vanquished doggophobes." Yeah, see, no, not real bones, not real bones, you guys. Okay. So now I am going to go ahead and draw our little doggo friends. I'm thinking of doing, so years ago, I actually did, I totally forgot to upload the file I was going to show you guys, but I did an illustration of dog knights, and one of them was a Pomeranian and one of them was a Saint Bernard. So I think that those are the two dogs that I'm going to do today. I haven't drawn them in a very long time, but let's see how it goes. I think I'm going to put the Saint Bernard on the right. So let's go ahead and start with him. Their names, by the way, are Sir Wolfred III and Sir Pompadour, just in case you were curious. Okay. Let's go ahead. St. Bernard has some big old jowls. And a big old nose. Big old floppy jowls. Hopefully this ends up looking like a St. Bernard. If not, he'll just be a big old floppy fella that somewhat resembles a St. Bernard. Hopefully. Becca says my aunt has a very spoiled Pomeranian. Hello, MD Mazine. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing? Hi, Jan. Welcome. Okay. I need to move his eyes because his eyes are not in the right spot here. Dog anatomy is so difficult, you guys. He kind of is looking a little bit more like a Great Dane right now, I think. Like he's looking Scooby-Doo-ish. Should I have his tongue hanging out here? Here, we'll get his tongue hanging out. And then let's see. I wanted to actually I'm gonna shorten his head here a little bit, make him a little bit smaller, and I'm gonna move him up so he's like coming out of the hill instead of coming like over the hill. So he's coming out of the hill. So his body is like kind of in the hill. And then so we can have his tail coming from the other side. Oops, redo. There's a little bit more of a St. Bernard-y tail. And I think he's lacking a little bit of emotion right now, so I think I'm going to try to bring his Smile up there. There we go. And then, of course, we can't forget also his little feets, right? His little foots coming out here. His big ol' paws coming out here. And maybe we'll give a little hint of his collar coming out. And I am like totally winging it right now, you guys. I'm just trying to figure it out as we go here. And also something that's really particular for St. Bernard is the coloring on his face. So let's go ahead and make sure that we give him like the little white and the white nose too. Go like this, right around here. Something like that. I don't know, you guys. Okay, I'm gonna move him up a little bit, I think. And I'm gonna move his tail down a little bit too. Move him up a little bit. And move the tail down. He looks a little disjointed right now. That helps a little bit, I think. I don't know if I've asked this question yet. I have asked the question, what dog breeds do you guys own? But I don't think I've ever asked, what are your guys' favorite dog breeds, even if you've never owned it before? I think some of my favorite dog breeds, I used to love Dalmatians when I was a kid. I mean, I still do. I also really love Golden Retrievers. Also, Australian Shepherds are one of my favorites as well. Can't think of other ones right now. Dachshund. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I owned when I was a kid, my first dog was a Briard. Those guys are pretty cool. Her name was Sally. That was my childhood dog. A lot of people haven't heard of Briard before, but they're actually they're sheepdogs. That's actually the breed of dog that was in the movie Annie with Shirley Temple. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go ahead and try to start working on our Pomeranian friend. Let's go on a new layer here. And they're quite fluffy. They have, you know, their little pointed ears. I'm gonna just go ahead and like make the skull shape first, and then I'll add the fluff on top of that. So we'll just kind of like make like a rough like little shape for his face. They kind of have like foxy faces, kind of fox-ish faces. I don't know if that looks like a Pomeranian or not, but well, not yet, not with the fluff. You gotta add the fluff first, and then it'll look like one. Oh. Oh, clever, says Great Pyrenees. Yeah, Great Pyrenees are really beautiful. Okay, let's see, moving on. Okay, let's go ahead. Actually, I feel like the ears for a Pomeranian kind of like point inward a lot of the time. Like they're very, kind of more like this. And maybe a little bit smaller. The ear itself is a little bit smaller. Okay, now let's add in that floofy floof. CJ said Rottweilers and Dobermans. Yeah, those are very cute. Dobermans, we have found, are basically just like big dachshunds, because they originally, well, it's thought that it is originally that they bred Dobermans and Basset Hounds to make a dachshund. So if you've ever seen a Doberman without cropped ears, they actually naturally have floppy ears. They look like giant dachshunds. Like the face is exactly like a dachshund. Pomeranians are 100% floof. Exactly. Like, have you ever seen a wet Pomeranian? Like, they lose like 90% of their body mass. Okay. So now that we have the floof, we can kind of like go back and erase some of this underlying shape that we have here. Maybe it's probably just gonna like look like some kind of random floofy dog. Jan says, is it a trend now to have the toolbar on the left? I see that more and more. No, I have the toolbar on the left, well, I have the toolbar on the right and the layer panel on the left because I'm left-handed. So it's easier for me to reach over to the right because I'm naturally like already pointed that way. So it's easier for me to go from this side, my canvas, to this side to the toolbar. It's just personal preference. Okay. Let's see. So they got little teeny tiny petite feet. Little diva feet. And actually, I think I'm going to, since we need the fur to connect through the body, actually, yeah, I think I'm going to have this, I think I said that earlier, I'm going to have this, the Pomeranian, come from the back side. So he's not actually in the pile, he's just coming out of the over the pile. So let's redraw this foot. Shauna says, dogs with mini paws are masters at finding that one spot on your leg where to stand that it hurts the most. Yeah, right? And then Pomeranians also have like that like curled floof tail that kind of like sits on their back almost. Trying to look at reference here. So it kind of like comes up kind of weird. I don't even know how to draw it. Let's see here. It kind of actually, yeah, the fur is actually coming this way if I'm looking at the reference correctly. So fur is coming up like this. And it's sitting on the back. Almost like that. And I think actually I might have this fur maybe come out a little bit more. And we also need to add some fur They don't have as much fur on their legs, but they still do have some furry spots. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I think what I might do too, now that I'm zooming out, again, I'm not even taking my own advice about keeping zoomed out. I'm feeling like the composition isn't very strong right now. So what I think I want to do overall is kind of like zoom in everything. So I'm going to actually select all of these layers. I'm kind of bad at selecting multiple layers on Fresco. So let's see if I can do this. I don't know how to select multiple layers and have them go into a group. So I am just going to pull them manually. One second, you guys. I think my screen is... There we go. Sorry, you guys. I think I deselected my capture, so it was lagging a little bit, but hopefully it should be better now. Okay, so I am going to take all of these layers and I am going to kind of like zoom them in a little bit. So oops, I did not grab my bottom layer here. There we go. So I'm going to zoom all of these layers in a bit so we have a little bit more focus on the dogs. Here, there we go. I think I like that much better. And then I can just move these other dog bones in a little bit now that because they're kind of coming off of the frame. Actually, thinking that was actually, I think, a happy accident, because in all of our other scenes, we've had a little bit of an overhang. So maybe that's what I'll do for this one. I'll have some of these dog bones just kind of like overhanging the background shape here. So maybe we'll do something like that. I'll probably mess with them and their position a little bit more later. You select multiple and then click the folder icon. It will appear on the left toolbar, and then you can put it into a group. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Thank you, Val. Okay, so let's get back. Actually, you know what? Before we get back to working, this is probably actually a really great time to head on over to check out just our few community entries, and then we will pop on back over to Fresco so we can continue working on this. Okay, so let's go ahead and head on over to Instagram, and we can check out some of our super, super cute community entries. We just have a few this week, so it'll only take a few minutes, but I really always want to show off the amazing entries from our awesome community members that every week, week by week, still continue to keep up with my prompts, which I seriously so much appreciate. And I love seeing your guys' entries every week. It really does warm my heart. Okay, so of course, the secret beauty drawings, as always, we see them every single week making these super adorable comics. It says, Tia, since you've been a very good dog lately, you deserve some treats. So I conjured up some for you. Enjoy, girl. And then the dog just goes on like, am I dreaming? This is amazing. Like, so many dog treats. And also, as you can see, like I was talking about the whole milk bone thing, they got like holes in them. They added those like little holes in the milk bones. So really beautiful detail on that. And I just love like your little witchy character. It's so cute. So yeah, follow Secret Beauty Drawings if you want to see more of their many comics that they've done for my prompts. And then the next one is, I think it's a little corgi. It looks like it might be a corgi puppy. I think this one was for last week's prompt for Cuddle. So adorable. And I love that it looks like they actually kind of did a similar situation with the projects that I'm working on for the stream, where they kind of kept the background monochromatic and they did like a frame for the background, and they added some plants also in the background that did a little bit of an overhang. And then there's also beautiful texture going on in the background. I love it. Such great work. And the little giraffe toy is really adorable too. So yeah, and also the fur texture is really beautiful as well. So cute. Okay. Yeah, Fathia Rani. I'm not sure. I'm so sorry. I know I mispronounced that, but please go follow them for more work. And then the last one today is also from the same artist, actually. Another corgi. It looks like maybe they draw a lot of corgis. So cute. They said that in the description that they they designed this cake after the Harry Potter Happy Birthday cake. So really adorable for yummy treats today. I also love, again, they kind of did a similar thing where they kind of took my advice in doing the kind of monochromatic background, also with kind of like those chalky textures almost. It looks like they might have used Kyle Webster's vinyl scraper. That's a really great texture creator for backgrounds. Really love those textures. It's really beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone, for your entries. We really appreciate it. And we can pop on over back to Fresco for the next half hour. All right. Okay, back to our Pomeranian. I think it's a Pomeranian at least. Okay. I honestly really enjoy seeing your guys' entries. I know I say that every week, but I just want to make sure that you guys like really know that. It's just like, I mean, I wouldn't have a show if it wasn't for you guys. So it really means a lot to me that you guys are willing to put in the work to, you know, I mean, just participate every week. And I think that it's just so nice. And I think that it's just like a really cool thing that we have with Adobe Live, that, you know, we can all just kind of like hang out and make art together. And it's just really fun. Okay. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to copy and paste this front leg. And if I want to like adjust the position of it at all, I can just copy and paste it. And then I'm going to go ahead and select just the front half right up against the joint. So at the wrist there. So, and super fast trick, I can just go ahead and angle it down more, for instance, if I wanted to change that position of that paw a little bit, or I can angle it out. Okay. So we probably wouldn't see the collar on a Pomeranian because it would be hidden underneath the fur, but I realized that I haven't given any of my dogs a bandana yet, and I love it when dogs have bandanas, so I think I might try to give him a little bandana. Let's see. So a lot of this would probably be covered by the fur, but I'm just going to go ahead and like draw in the shape, and then we can go back and erase whatever we feel like would be covered by the fur. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to this top line here, and we can just make the facial fur come and cover that a little bit. Oh, and then I got to work on the ears a little bit more too, huh? It doesn't look like a Pomeranian as much to me as like a West Highland Terrier, maybe. I don't know. A Bichon. Okay, let's do, because they kind of like sometimes have like inner colors on their ears here, so we can do like a little bit like that maybe. Drawing in some fur lines. Got to get those beard lines in. Okay. That's something, I guess. It doesn't look too bad, I suppose. I think I'm going to move Mr. St. Bernard over once again, just a little bit. Just kind of give the other dog a little bit of space. And I'm also going to make him a little bigger since he's a big old pup. Maybe I should make his tail like coming off the edge. Oops, I did not mean to mask that. There we go. Okay, and don't forget to save your work if any of you guys are working on anything today. Okay, so now that we have our dogs in, roughly, let's go ahead and I will quickly kind of just like do the silhouette of the foreground pile. And then we can maybe try to get into some color in the last 20 minutes here. So let's go ahead and just do this kind of fast. Let's see. Yeah, so let's put this underneath everything. So that's our thumbnail layer, and let's make a new layer. And I want to show you guys a couple of different techniques that I might do for implying that something is in a pile. That seems like a very specific tip, but I've actually drawn these kinds of things quite often throughout my career. Like, for instance, like a pile of acorns or even a brick wall. It's kind of along the same lines of kind of like implying that there's a lot of things together, but not necessarily drawing every single one of those things. And that is definitely the situation here, because I honestly do not have the patience to draw every single dog bone. And it's also not necessarily the style that I'm going for. If that is the style that you're going for, like if you're going for like a more realism style, or just a style that maybe like is like an inking style, usually has like a lot of details within it, like a comic book style, that would be like a time where you would probably draw a lot more detail than I'm going to be. But for my simplistic style, I personally would rather not draw every single dog bone. And it's definitely intentional. It doesn't all come back to me being just lazy. A lot of it does, though. Okay, just a few more here. And like I said, I'll probably move these foreground bones at some point, move them somewhere else. Okay. As Paul Tranny likes to say, you get the idea. Okay, save our work. Okay. So for our other illustrations, like I said, I've tried to keep each illustration kind of with the same treatment in terms of the color. So I haven't really like changed up the technique all that much, because I wanted them all to look very similar. So for all of them, I've done the majority of the backgrounds with my Conte crayon brush. Well, not my Conte crayon brush. It's Kyle Webster's Conte crayon brush, but I use it quite a bit in my work. But also with a little bit of added detail with one of his watercolor brushes called Natural Edge Painter. So as you can see, all of this has kind of like that chalky pastel texture. So that's what we're going to be doing for the background. Otherwise, if I wasn't trying to make all of these look really similar, I can talk about another way that I would do it is I would actually do the piles in full watercolor. So basically what I would do, I'm going to just do this really quick so I can show you guys this type of technique. So what I would do is I would fill actually this whole background with Conte crayon, this one. So I'd fill, oops, I need a new layer. New layer. Okay, so I would fill all of this background basically with the Conte crayon brush. Like this. Something like that. Of course, I'm doing it really fast right now. And then I would actually lower the opacity of that layer so I can see the sketch underneath. And then I would go back to my brushes and I would go to Kyle Webster's watercolor brush called Natural Edge Painter. And I would actually take that same color because the Natural Edge Painter brush is on a multiply layer. The blending mode for the brush itself is multiply. So even if you put the same color on top of a color, it's actually going to be darker. So what I like to do, this is the one technique, the watercolor technique, is I would actually come in here. I'm going to make my brush a little bit smaller. I'm going to come in here and I'm actually just going to paint some dog bone shapes in here. So I would continue doing that kind of like throughout the pile. And I would also like not worry about like overlapping. I kind of like try to overlap some of them, especially because of the multiply blending mode that these brushes have. So it kind of gives like a very dimensional look because you can see all of the layers underneath each other. So like having some of these like overlap up here. And so I would kind of like just keep it very flat and do that throughout the whole pile. And I would basically just do that. I would just do that for, yeah, like I said, the whole pile. But I wouldn't be drawing every single bone. I would keep it on that one single flat layer. So instead of like going through and very meticulously drawing all of these bones in all different directions, it kind of simplifies the look. And you can still know, like, your brain fills in the gaps. It's kind of like when you're drawing a brick wall, you don't necessarily need to draw every single brick for it to come across as a brick wall. Like, for instance, I can do an example of that right now. So here's our little brick wall. So we could go in and draw every single little brick. But if you did that, it kind of ends up being pretty distracting. So instead, what you can do, our brick wall is going to be green, by the way, just because that's the color that I have selected. Instead, I like to pair my bricks by 2s and 3s. And if you look at like kids' cartoons, a lot of the time, if you kind of like stop them while you're watching and study, if you see a brick wall, that's a lot of the time what they do in those too, just to save time. So basically, like, we can, oops, let's make our brush a little smaller. We could draw our bricks like this. Kind of like 2 by 2, kind of like diagonal from each other too. And if it's the end of the wall or the edge of the wall, I'll probably have like a little bit of an overhang like that. I know this is totally off topic, but I guess it's it's similar to what we were talking about earlier. Kind of like just like very kind of like strategically placing the bricks so they look like it should be the whole wall. And you can do like, if you're on the edge here, you can do like half bricks too, to imply that they're like going around the edge of the building. Something like that. So it's kind of like adds a little bit of character to your brick walls. So it's not just a boring brick wall. Just catching up on chat. Hey, Elizabeth. Hi. How are you doing? I don't think I've said hi to you yet. Welcome. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and erase this layer, and we can go ahead and start working on the actual background. We have like 5 minutes left, so I don't think I'm going to be able to get too much into it, but I think I'm going to be doing the whole background in this kind of warm tone green here. And then over top of it, I would most likely just do a like a darker warm tone green. So I can give you guys a little bit of an example of that. Let me just fill in this space here, and then I can show you what that would look like. So since these other piles in the way background are farther away, we want them to be a little bit lighter than the foreground ones. So I'm going to take this color, this current background color, I'm going to make a new layer. And then I'm going to lighten this up a little bit and desaturate it. Lower the opacity on that background color there. Go back to our new layer. And I am going to just brush on that lighter color for our silhouette of our pile of dog bones. And I can actually even make this into a clipping mask. We've talked about clipping masks in the past. There we go. So now I don't even have to worry about creating that texture. It's just gonna collect the texture from the layer underneath. So now we can bring back that full color opacity. And so now we have the silhouette starting to have that silhouette of the colors, the piles in the background. So what I would do, I basically similar technique, except with the Conte crayon, we're not going to be able to have those overlapping layers like we did with the watercolor, but I will make a new layer, and I might actually, I'm either going to make them a little bit lighter than the current color, or maybe I'd make them darker, probably lighter just because it's in the back, like way in the background. So I'll probably just throw in some little dog bone shapes throughout here, keeping it really simple. That's basically what you always want to keep in mind when you're doing this stuff. If you're trying to go for a simplistic style, just constantly be aware of how much detail you're adding. I'm even going to add in a bone like that's a part of the silhouette. So I'd probably just kind of like do that sporadically, very similarly to the brick style that we did. Wow, words. Something like that. That's what I was trying to say. Val says, I just love this green. Might be my favorite green. Oh, yes. I love the warm tone, like olive greens. I guess that's what this could be. Yeah, it's like very like swampy. I like it a lot. Very cool. Clever says that illustration will be fun and fun to finish and fun to see. Nice work. Yeah, I'll probably hopefully post it maybe today or tomorrow. We'll see how much I'm able to get done. But thank you all so much for watching. It is about that time for me to go. I am not going to be back next week because I think it's Labor Day next week. But we will be back the week after that with our new prompt list for September. We're going to be doing Spooktember, and we're going to be designing monsters together. So really looking forward to that. It's going to be so fun. And yeah, stick around for Paul Traney with Design to the Rescue, and I will see you guys in a couple weeks. Bye.